because I wasn't thinking like that before. I'm like, oh man, I got to edit it. I got to do this. I got to do the branding. I got to do the colors and all that other stuff. When I found out all that I have to do is be my very best self and what I do anyway on a day-to-day basis, I saw how simple the process was. So that was a game changer for me. So understanding and knowing that the process is simple if you have somebody like yourself, like a Cam, to actually press record, you do your thing, and then actually at the end, make it all nice and present it in a way where it's going to be professional, it's going to be competent, and it's going to be ready for consumption.
What is going on, people? We got my guy, Meiyoko Taylor, right here. I don't know if I fully pronounced his name right, but dude, you have been killing it on LinkedIn so far. I'm helping you out a little bit when it comes to like your YouTube lead magnet stuff. We produced a course for you way back when. We'll get into all that in just a second. But like for now, dude, I would love for you to introduce yourself and then jump into a little bit about what you do and specifically what your service is.
Oh, perfect. Everybody, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Meiyoko Taylor. I have been a coach in personal development, professional development for a little over 15 years at this point. I specialize in work-life balance. So basically what I do is I help people thrive in their business and outside of the office too. Burnout is one of my specialties. I talk a lot about burnout, restoration. I believe that life has an equilibrium. And I feel like from a professional perspective, we live in a society where there's this hustle and grind type of mentality.
Already, man. So I was just looking back at our first project. We actually kicked off our first project back in December. I would love for us to talk about November. Like, dude, where were you right before we put
Sure.
together? I remember you talked a little bit about not necessarily having like a productized service or something you could give and you're having to work with each
Right.
client one-on-one. Dude, backtrack me, like kind of just walk me through. What was that process like?
I mean, I literally was overwhelmed, before I actually ran into you. I think it was a sense of coaching for all these years, doing a lot of one-on-one stuff. I knew that you had to have some type of framework recorded that people can actually, learn from, get the same type of results from, so you can actually scale your business. But the reality of it is I was lazy. I didn't, well, not just the fact of being lazy. I didn't really know, to be full transparency, I really didn't know that it was easy to, or as simple as it was to record a course. I thought you had to have these bells, whistles, all this, spend all this money to make it look all sexy and like a lot of the things that you see and a lot of things that people project. But the reality of it is people want results. People want the right information. And people want good value, good coaching, good content. So when you came along and it was just like, hey, man, just tell me what you do, how you do it. I'm going to record you and we can turn it into course. So I was just like, what? It kind of was just like, really? And the cool thing about it was, that was the exact process. We got on just like this. I talked about a few things. And then the next thing you know, within less than a week, we had an actual course. So, for anybody that's kind of like me or was thinking like I was, the reality of it is it really does not take much for you to create a course. It creates your ideas, your methodology, you actually presenting it in a way, in a video format or whatever format you choose, and possibly editing it and recording it. And that's pretty much it. Like you kind of taught me to and brought me back to the content is the most important thing. You're probably going to re-record the course at some point. You're probably going to add more to it, but it's the fact of getting the information out there so you can actually help people today. So, that's one of the most important things you kind of brought back to my remembrance and my mindset, because I was really focusing on everybody else, how everybody else looked, what everybody else was doing, and nothing got done.
And that's the funny thing. I remember, whenever we first started working together, I was like, this guy actually really knows his stuff. Like, the funny part was I didn't have to teach you how to be a teacher. The only thing I said was
Right.
like, dude, you have all this information up here. Here's how to present it in a way that makes sense. And if I
Right.
remember correctly, like remind me, we started and then finished your course in under a month. I want to say about 3 weeks. I know the process didn't take very long. Do you remember about like how long it
No,
was?
not at all.
Yeah, no,
It
the process didn't take
probably
long.
it was less than a month. It was definitely less than a month, and the only reason why it took probably maybe 2 to 3 weeks is because of scheduling conflict. But
Mhm.
literally, when we got together, it was
Mhm.
literally just one thing after the other. It didn't take
He was
long at
like,
all.
let's just bang it
In
out.
fact,
Yeah. Yeah, dude. So I mean, like, walk me through it, right? If I were someone that was in your perspective, where I had no clue
hmm
how to shoot a course, I have all this information in my head. What what is the process like in order to like get a course recorded? If you were talking to a version of yourself that had no idea.
man, the process is easy. The process is very simple. It's we as coaches, as consultants, as thought leaders, whatever it is that you are, and you're producing content, there's always somebody that does something better than you do. And the reason why I have to say that is because we feel like we got to create the content, we got to record the videos, we got to do all these different things. So when I realized that, wait a second, I can focus in my area of genius and just kind of coach and teach and share methodologies and those types of things, and then somebody else could actually edit it, put it together. Because I wasn't thinking like that before. I'm like, oh man, I got to edit it. I got to do this. I got to do the branding. I got to do the colors and all that other stuff. When I found out all that I have to do is be my very best self in what I do anyway on a day to day basis, I saw how simple the process was. So that was a game changer for me. So understanding and knowing that the process is simple if you have somebody like yourself, like a Cam, to actually press record, you do your thing, and then actually at the end make it all nice and present it in a way where it's going to be professional, it's going to be competent, and it's going to be ready for consumption.
Yeah, man. I mean, that is the coolest part, right? That I will never, ever, ever,
Right.
ever be able to tell people how to do work life balance. You can. I can't even tell you I have the best
Right.
work life balance, right? But what I can tell you how to do is put content together, how to structure in a way to get people's attention. I
Right.
can talk about marketing. You can talk about what you're good at. And when you merge those two things together, you can make magic happen. So, man, I'm actually really
Absolutely, man.
curious. You were telling me about this a little bit earlier, but I would love for you to say this now. Where do you plan on taking the business, right? So, like, you got the course together, you understand how to do it. At this point, you could probably put a lot of the extra pieces of the course now together yourself. Tell me, in the next 6 to 12 months, where do you see your business being as far as like revenue grows, maybe more clients, maybe even more courses, more ideas? Where do you see the business in the next 6 to 12 months?
Oh man, next 6 to 12 months, definitely working with you for sure. And I'm not saying that just because we're on video. Definitely working with you for
Mm-hmm.
sure. I feel like there is a shift and movement to where a lot of people are focusing, especially business professionals. They're focusing back on, what do I love to do? What am I passionate about? I need to get myself back. So when I say work life balance, it's not balance in a form of a metric system. It's balance in quality of life in your personal and professional experience. So what I'm doing now is I'm trying to push back on that hustle and grind culture that we're so addicted to, that we're so used to, and show people like, listen, it's landing people in hospitals, it's landing people in mental health clinics. It's ruining marriages, it's ruining personal relationships, professional relationships. We got to get back to having an actual balance in how we do things. So where I see myself is on stages. I definitely see myself sitting down with certain corporations, teaching some of their sales staff, maybe executives in the higher positions, because it starts from the top down, man. I see myself really like doing one-on-one coaching with some leaders that can influence infrastructures, influence people, influence corporations, influence cultures. So that's kind of where I see myself going. And from a revenue perspective, in the next 12 to 18 months, I kind of want to, I don't want to say I kind of want to, because me being a coach, I want to be very precise. I'm looking to see probably about 250,000 to a 500,000 increase in revenue.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably
Mm-hmm.
gross. I want to say probably gross revenue.
No, man, and we can get you there. What I was just breaking down to somebody the other day on like a discovery call was I was telling him the different tiers of what coaching and consulting can look like. Like, the
hmm
actually, believe this or not, the bottom tier is the course. The next
Right.
step up, where you can charge more money and you can make more influence, you have more of an impact, is the community. the course has to come first, but then the community aspect is where people grow with
Right.
you on a one-on-one group basis. But then the next step up is the mastermind, is the presenting to corporate clients, speaking on stages. But all of that is like a ladder, right? Like you have to start with the course, you have to prove the concept and the idea with lots of people, and then you're able to speak in front of hundreds or thousands of people, and you're able to grow and scale a business like that. So, dude,
Absolutely.
goal, your goals are not unrealistic at all, right? Like you have the base built. Now get the people who lives are changed. Once you get those people, do case studies with those people, show the case studies to
Right.
more people, and you get more people to buy your thing, right? Like
Absolutely. Absolutely.
the process takes time, right? You have to be an expert, which is where you have the kind of lane where most people don't, is you know how to advise people here. But now it's just like staying consistent to the process and putting everything together. So, man, I would love to ask you this next question. If somebody was on the fence about putting a course together,
Hmm.
they were an expert
Hmm.
in their field of interest, but they're like, like I don't know if I
Hmm.
should put the course together or not. What would you tell them?
What I would tell them is you're only one person. Imagine you actually giving that same value to 100 people at one time, to 1,000 people at one time, to 10,000 people at one time, to 100,000 people at one time. How many people could you actually impact at the same time? And then really think about that. And then think about that's exactly what a course does. Now, from a financial, because I do the impact first, right? From a financial perspective, imagine if you could actually sell your course or offer your course and 10 people buy it at one time, 100 people buy it at one time, 1,000 people buy it at one time, 10,000, 100,000. What type of revenue would that add to your bottom line? Now it becomes a place where financial freedom is not just something, an afterthought. It's actually a reality. And it could be and that could be in a little as 60 days, 90 days, 3 months, 6 months, a year. So anybody that's on the fence, your course is your intellectual property that you create one time, but it can impact for the next 50, 100 years, 200 years, and will pay you for the rest of your life. Not just you, it could be your children, it could be their children. That's how powerful creating a impactful course is. So that's what I would say. If you're on the fence, get off it.
No, dude, I'm mind blown, man. Like the courses, because even though I produce them, I don't have any courses necessarily that I sell. After hearing that, I'm probably gonna make one after this because that was that was great, man. That was so great, dude. Okay, so for anybody that you feel like would kind of have any final thoughts, if it was stuff specifically about working with us, things about the course, what are
Mhm.
any final thoughts, anything that you like to tell people right before we end?
Get out of your own way. Sometimes we're too smart for our own good. Get out of your own way. You don't have to do anything yourself. If you've been an entrepreneur for a long time, you get kind of attached to certain things. Learn to start to delegate, learn to start to trust other people, and get out of your own way. I was literally just having a call with my business partner earlier, and I was just like, look, there's been instances where I've been in your way. So I have to get out of your way and allow you to do the things that you do. So from a company perspective, literally, I have a meeting later on about this very, very same thing. How can we cohesively work together and really maximize, the next 6 to 12 months? So get out of your own way. Stop trying to do it all yourself. If you have the means to actually invest in somebody helping you, that's an expert, do it like yesterday. If you don't, do what you have to do to get to the point where you have the means to do what you got to do. So that's what I would say. Get out of your own way.
Dude, I could not agree more. Thank you so much for your time, dude. This was so much fun,
No
man.
problem,
And
man.
like you said, I'm gonna be spending the rest of the day getting out of my own way. So, dude, I appreciate it. This is fun. Thank you
No
so much,
problem, man.
man.
Later.